So as you can see here, I've completely created the grid, holes in each cylinder. It's all one object now. As you combine or subtract or as you combine or do a Boolean union or subtraction, difference, the number of objects will decrease, and as you work your way down, you'll end up with only one object in your object browser. So what I'm going to do is rename this. So I just double click on the name, and I'm renaming this just as simple. Okay, so next thing in line is I need to add the attachments for the belt loops. So if I hit Meshmix, you'll see there are a wide variety of different shapes preformed. I haven't looked at some of these, so this is interesting. And what we want is primitive. So this is primitive shapes, your typical stuff, except rabbits apparently is a primitive shape. Okay, so what we need is a cylinder. I'm going to keep it there for now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this invisible, select this object, and if you hit C on the cursor or on the keyboard, this function is again the same on PCs as it is Mac. It will recenter the page on whatever your cursor is on. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to select this entire object. Okay. So I hit C again, and that recentered just a little bit. So as you can see, this object here is kind of clunky looking. It doesn't have super smooth edges. So what I'm going to do is, and that's because, so it looks clunky like that because it has a low number of triangles. As you can see here, it's about 940. And the way objects work in Meshmixer is on the basis of triangles, or you'll hear other videos reference them as, I believe, polygons. Regardless, if you hit W on the keypad, again, same as Mac and PC, it will show you the triangles in the object. You can also do the same if you hit show wireframe. Turns it on and off. What is great about Meshmixer is it shows you the keyboard shortcuts in this little top toolbar here. So what I'm going to do is select. So you could do select by just clicking and highlighting a certain portion that you want. If you hit shift and then again just click and drag, all I'm doing, left click and drag, it will select each polygon. So if I only wanted to edit this part of the cylinder, I would only select this part. That's not what I want to do right now, but I'm just doing this for the video's sake. If you hold shift, and again you drag, it will deselect what you have already selected. What I'm going to do, since I want to select the entire thing, I'm just going to double click and it'll select the whole object. I'm going to hit edit. I'm going to go to remesh. I could also alternatively just go here to remesh. Or from here, when the object is selected, I could just hit R. I want to increase the density of triangles, so I'm going to increase by %. So essentially and effectively increased the number of triangles by half. You can also do it by these different remesh modes. There's threshold and stuff like that. I hardly ever mess with that. I just use the density and that will do. I also remove the smooth group boundaries selection because I would rather have these objects be sharp and crisp rather than smooth. And I'll hit accept. Now if I remove the wireframe, that looks like a lot crisper and better object. Clear selection. And for the purposes of this object itself, I don't need to have any more triangles than that. I don't want to create too big of an too precise and fine of an object where it causes Meshmixer itself to be slow and lag. So what I'm going to do now is edit the dimensions of this tube, making it 5 millimeters by 5 millimeters by 5 millimeters. And now I'm going to add another object, which is just going to be this cylinder, or excuse me, this disc. I'm not going to edit the number of triangles on this. It should be fine, but I'm going to change the dimensions of it. And since this is sort of a strange, a different object, not necessarily one I'm used to working with, I am quite unsure of what changing these will do. I don't want that to happen. There we go. So I have a flat disk. I'm actually going to make this a 6. So this changes one direction, this changes the other. And size Y is the thickness, but I want that to remain as thin as that is. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to center this object on top of the cylinder here. I'm going to change the dimensions by which I'm moving this to a smaller unit to allow for more precise movements. Right now I'm just eyeballing it, but soon you'll see that there's a little bit more to it. And there's a better way to check to make sure that the object is centered. Okay, so as you can tell, this side of the object is a little off, so I'm just going to adjust this. Okay. Okay, I'm just doing a few last final adjustments. And I know just from experience that when creating this object, I need to leave this small lip here so that when I do the Boolean union, it will work. Accept. And there we go, we have our object.